what do recent bankruptcies tell us about the state of U.S. credit markets? So Tricolor was a subprime auto lender in the South, meaning its borrowers had a high likelihood of default, who filed for Chapter 7 in September. The company's customer base was primarily low income, specifically targeting undocumented communities. Beyond the fact that their key clientele was unable to repay due to being removed from the country, the company was allegedly doing some fraud. So the majority of loans to Tricolor were collateralized or backed by assets held by Tricolor. One problem is that Tricolor pledged the same collateral to several different banks, meaning debt that was underwritten as senior secured may have actually been subordinate. So Tricolor's business essentially functioned by getting short-term funds from banks called warehouse loans and making risky auto loans to consumers, then securitizing or packaging those loans to lower the risk before selling to institutional investors. I would show you exactly how this works, but I seem to have misplaced my Jenga blocks. You've heard this story before. People don't pay back their loans, so they can't securitize, so they can't pay back the banks. The banks are on the hook for this. JP Morgan and Fifth Third, both charging off roughly $200 million. But dislocation creates opportunity. Apollo, for example, buying loads of credit default swaps prior to the collapse. The plan? We short all of a company's outstanding debt, then deport all of their customers. But why? Why was this debt rated AAA, and why were so many large, reputable financial institutions involved? It all points towards froth in the credit market. Credit spreads on speculative grade bonds, that is, the price you're paid for taking credit risk, are near all-time lows, indicating there's an immense amount of competition for these high yields, coming primarily from non-bank lenders. It's been a month, and there wasn't any sign of broader market risk. Until this past week, when regional banks were down upwards of 10% on fears of deteriorating credit quality. That and Jamie Dimon's cockroach comment. For me personally, one cockroach is far too many. This isn't a story of unconstrained systemic risk or broader market contagion. This is a story of misrated and mispriced risk, which could serve as a warning to bank and non-bank lending of all kinds. Besides the private credit of it all, these bankruptcies beg the question of the strength of the American consumer heading into a weakening labor market. More on that to come. Thanks for watching.